In Washington, NATO is rebuking China as being a, quote, decisive enabler of Russia and the war in Ukraine.
I always say that desperate people like to do desperate things. And by doing desperate things, it will make people to understand the kind of a person you are.
China is propping up Russia's war economy. This is not just a temporary collision of convenience, it is a major strategic shift.
When the US with its allies, NATO's and the Europeans, they were busy blocking all the Russian assets. Of course, they believed that it was going to be over for Russia, because they believe that the only solution they can defeat Russia is by going to stand on their ways and destroy every asset that they have outside, because they know that with that it's going to be more easy for them to defeat Russia. But unfortunately, these things actually it keep on making Russia become even more independent country out there in the world, because the Russian government, they keep surviving without the help of G7, G20 or any kind of organizations which they used to participate in the world.
Well, NATO is concerned about the fact that they're losing on the ground. They weren't prepared for the kind of asymmetrical warfare. They were assuming that Western munitions would take care of the day. Now they need an excuse to say, why things haven't turned out the way they thought. Russia's economy is doing better than the U.S. and Europe's, and B, this issue about the war.
Instead, they are kind of like having now new allies who are coming forward to support them and give them their hands in whatsoever is happening right there. Guys, you might wonder, why are we even talking about this? Because the Western, after a month ago, of course, G7, they had blocked all the Russian assets in their organizations. Well, they thought that it was going to be over. Now they end up realizing that beside us dealing with Russia, there is one big enemy out there who can come and destroy us economically, because they thought that by continue fighting Russia via Ukraine, it was gonna defeat the Russian economy in order for their economy to raise up. But they end up starting realizing that actually they are the big loser in all this, because at the end of the day, there's a new benefit of in all this conflict. And here we are talking about the Republic of China.
So right now it's point fingers at China and declare that China is the reason that they're losing a conflagration that they created. China has been very, very, very careful about not being in that position.
Yeah.
If they wanted to support wholeheartedly, they could have very easily. And this issue is just one that's being manufactured.
So they are the one who are benefiting in all this conflict, whether it is in Russia or whether it is in the Middle East. They are the one who are benefiting even more because their economy keep on raising up. When they are busy raising up different sanctions toward Russia and other countries such as Iran and more countries around the world, well, all these countries, they seem to turn their backs on their West and facing towards China. So Russia is taking, China is now taking control of all these countries by financing them and selling them, trading with them in a different ways. So these countries, I'm referring to NATO, countries which they had believed that if we try to destabilize the economy of Russia, we'll be able to grow up our economies, but instead their economy actually keep on going down instead of even straightening up. So now there is something that happened, guys. What happened now is that NATO, they have decided to start seizing or blocking all the China assets.
China provides dual-use equipment, microelectronics, a lot of other tools which are enabling Russia to build the missiles, to build the bombs, to build the aircraft, to build the weapons they are using to attack Ukraine. And the fact that this is now clearly stated, agreed by all NATO allies is an important message to China. And then, of course, we also then state that it cannot continue like this.
NATO actually wants to seize all China assets because they are under pressure. Then they can see that their future is not that good because the USA, who's their partner number one in all these activities that they've been doing around the world, seem to be having different opinions within the US border or the US politics, whereby you take the Democrats, which are being represented by Joe Biden, saying that no, the NATO it is a proper platforms that can help us to keep our allies in Europe and we can be able to control the world.
This new pledge sends an unmistakable message to the world that every NATO member is committed to doing their part to keep the alliance strong. We can and will defend every inch of NATO territory, and we'll do it together. And that we're investing in our future strength to NATO will always be ready for whatever threats we will face should be a clear message we're making to sending to the world.
And on the other side, they are having Republicans, which are being represented by Donald Trump, who believe that the US is spending a lot of money on NATO when their allies, they are not giving enough money. So therefore, he believes that if he have to step in or if he have to come back in power, Donald Trump will either reject these NATO activities or he have to go again to start putting more pressure to all the allies who are found inside this platform for them to start contributing the same amount of money in all activities. So you can tell already that somehow, some way, NATO is shaking. They're shaking because they can tell already that without in the NATO or without the kind of donations which the US get to give in these NATO platforms, of course, it's gonna make the activities start collapsing around the world. It's gonna make them to become even that weak platforms among other world biggest platforms. So that is the reason why they're trying to do something which can motivate their allies to feel that, okay, no, look, I think we have made China to become even more rich and all this, because when we are busy trying to fight other countries with their economies, but it seems like China, they are the one who are busy even taking all the profit that we're supposed to be taking. Let me give you for an easy example so that you can understand what I mean to say by this. When the US with its allies, they impose their sanctions on Russia, They put more than 150 sanctions on Russia when it comes to the tradings, when it comes to the monies, the business, when it comes whatsoever it could be. They imposed a sanction on Russia. They thought it was an easy way that Russia was going to give up Ukraine, so that then they'll come and install their military base in Ukraine. But Russia did not follow for that. Russia, they managed to survive. And they put all these sanctions stopping Russia from trading with other countries. Yet Russia managed to open another door out on which they start trading with China, which other countries have to trade with China. So Russia end up having a big partner. Of course, they have a lot of partners or many countries out there that they usually trade with. But one of the biggest trade company, or I mean partner, that if I should put it that way, that Russia they're having right now, that would be China. And we all know that China, they trade with all the entire world. The US, they'll come in Africa trying to threaten African leaders with their government, saying that no, they should not go and trade with Russia or China. But as we're talking right now, Americans, they're the number one who are trading with China. So they have a lot to win in China. All of us who have our friends or family members who are over in the US, they are doing the same thing as we are doing over here in Africa, by ordering things from China. So now these NATO countries, they end up realizing that no, when we put these sanctions on Russia, Russia still continue trading with China. They sell their stuff to China. China take their stuff and sell it to other nations. Then at the end of the day, China become as a middleman who's benefiting from something that they did not even work much for. So now they feel like, okay, no, look, all the NATO allies, they should not put sanctions on China, but they should just stop trading with China. Now, the question here is to know, how is it going to affect China? Is this new strategy that NATO allies are taking, is it going to benefit, going to stop China from benefiting from all this or not? Is it going to make China feel like their economy is being affected some way? The answer to that is no. I'll tell you why. Because actually, they're the one who are going to suffer big, because they are going to be affected. We all know that China, when you take the Europe alone, they have about 65% of countries which China, they have a lot of money that they already invest over there. And this money cutting or stopping these people from investing in these all manufacturers or any different business they're having over there is going to affect them. Take a country such as the Germany, with their cars, BMs, and other vehicles that they are having over there. They need China presence in their in manufacturing of these cars. Without having China product, they won't be able to continue producing all these cars. Because then, if you take countries such as Germany, they never really have a big impact in Africa. Even though we all know that all the minerals, resource that these people are using in order for them to invent whatsoever they call over there, it comes from Africa. And China already have that easy access to come in Africans countries and try to have that due respect conversation with Africans in order for them to have these minerals. Even though African will still not being that certified in the way that this mineral is being taken out of Africa continent. That's another topic that we'll have to discuss in our next video. But China, they have easy access to get this mineral in countries such as Germany or these other small countries in Europe. Now that NATO is coming forward and saying that no, they are going to put on hold all the China assets. Well, it's going even to make things hard for them, because China already have a lot of partners. or most of countries in Asia continent, they trade with China. Africa is China's #1 partner. Because remember, Africa, it is under development. Africa will never invade our own light. Africans will never invade our own sewing machine. African will never invade a lot of things. It is them, the Western, who had invaded this kind of things, and they'll come and impose it on Africans to sell it to Africans to the price of their own choice. Thanks to China, whom they had make us believe if like China, they always sell fake things and they don't sell proper things. But just to find out that no, actually, it's just the way of them trying to destroy the market of Chinese. Because whether China are selling good quality or not, there's not any proof showing that them are the one who are selling the good qualities. So China, they'll come in Africa, of course, and they are providing all these things to Africans, and this end up making Africans become their client #1. And now that they're doing all these things, obviously, Africans are in the process of rejecting to trade with the West or to do business with the Western, and start doing business with China and Russia, because Africans, they are feeling more comfortable trading with China, Russia, India, than trading with US, France, and British. Do you know why? Let me give you a very easy example here. So, you know, Africans, they are like that women who've been married to, or who've been in the hands of an abusive man. A man that abused a woman without having pity on her, treating her somehow, insulting her each and every day. And then here comes another man who can see the potential of this woman to be their wife, or a person that they can see as their partner, a person they discover that no, actually this woman, she's very beautiful. I think I can respect her by treating her well, by acknowledging that she's the one who gives birth, who give me children. You know, those kind of example, like, you know what I mean, like what I'm trying to say. That is how these other nations that are seeing Africa right now, and then they are making that move to approach Africa in that due respect. Africa have understood already that they don't have nothing good they'll get from the Western. So they need to figure out who can be their next partner. And that is how Africans were finding now us trading with the countries such as Russia or China, because these countries already, they can acknowledge how powerful it is in their business. They know that if I invent a product here, I go in African market and sell it over there, they'll welcome it. And at the same time, they're willing even to start training also Africans in order for them to start invading their own things. That is how Africans will start even developing different areas because of this kind of partners. So this is where the anger of the Western are coming from. They now everything by all means to start stopping China right now. Because if they know very well that if things continue like this, China will become even more powerful as they are right now in the world of the business. So they know very well that they have to stop China right now by first to stop trading with China and seize all Chinese assets in Europe especially. Now when they do all this, obviously they'll be the one who will have to lose a lot, because China is going to focus more now in Africa and Asia. And once they focus more there, which means their product, excuse me, their product won't come again to these countries. Their product won't be welcome in this continent as African continent or Asia over there, because China will be occupying all over this place. And if their product have to come, they'll have to sell it to the price which will be lower than the one of Chinese, because we all know that Chinese, they have more affordable price when they are doing business with other countries. Stuff are more cheaper. It does not matter quality or not. So is the US with NATO are willing to start also reducing the price on their item in all these African countries. Whenever they want to trade with Africans, are them willing to trade to the same value as the one of China? Because we know that they are so good with these things, as they have done it back then, when they had to go and ask Saudi Arabia to reduce the price of petrol than the one of Russia, so that everyone who's supposed to be buying this material from Russia, they should go ahead and start buying it from Saudi Arabia. That was a tool which they were doing that because they wanted to destroy the economy of Russia before Vladimir Putin come to power, right? So now, as we are talking right now, are them also willing to do the same thing? Whereby, whatsoever they want to come and sell to Africans, they can drop the price and put it to the same price as the one of Russia. We shall wait and see what will happen about that. But them trying to attack China indirectly through the business which China had already invested in Europe countries, I don't think it's going to work in their benefit. If they doubt, let them do it. All time will tell whether we are right on this one or not. At the end of the day, it does not concern me as an African child. The most important things for me is to see African economy rising up and growing up, is to see Africa developing, is to see Africa doing good, fighting against crime, terrorists, unemployment, all those kind of challenges that we've been facing as Africans. That's what concerns me the most. Because I believe all these people, they are fighting like that is because Africa, we have what we have. If we had nothing to them, I don't think they will be fighting over there. So they are fighting that because they know already that Africa is the referee in all this. And let them fight. Whoever's going to win, I don't care. But whoever's going to come to Africans and give us a good reason why we should trade with them is that kind of a person we'll have to go for. Guys, thank you so much for taking time to watch this video. We really do appreciate your presence at this time of the day. We also inviting you to give us your thumbs up before you leave. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button if this is your first time to watch our videos. I'll see you again in our next video. But for now, continue to be yourself. Be good, be kind, have respect for everyone in order for you to be respected. May God bless you all. Ciao, ciao.
ya cheke, ya ndole, ya futu, ya fufu.